Well, the power of play really centers around the ability of interactive systems to engage us. It's really all about creating these new types of engagement. And what game designers for the past 30 years have done is they've evolved this language of interaction that is highly engaging. And so what we're seeing as part of the future of interaction design, what we see on computers, how we interact with screens, is all going to be influenced by the game mechanics, these systems that game designers have evolved, for the past 30 years. In our research, people play games for really 4 reasons. They play for the opportunity for novelty, to master challenge. They like to be challenged. They also like social interaction, and they also want to create value for themselves and create meaning. And we call these the 4 keys to fun. And there are 4 ways in which games create engagement. And what we've did at XEODesign is we've looked at people playing their favorite games, everything from Tetris to Halo, playing at home, school, and work, young and old, male and female. And we noticed that there were some similarities between these moments of engagement, of what they liked the most about games. And to classify these or to research them, what we did was we actually used Paul Ekman's facial action coding, and we simplified it for games. So there's 7 emotions you can measure in the face, others in the body. And we took these moments of play, the things that they liked most about games, the most engaging moments in play, and then grouped those moments on videotape by the emotions that they were feeling. And it turns out that there were 4 different groups of emotions, and we then looked at those emotions back to the games, and then looked at what was similar about those mechanics during those favorite parts of play. And what we found is that best-selling games had 3 out of the 4 of these types of fun, and people's favorite games had 3 out of the 4 types of fun as well. And not only that, is that within a single play session, within a 20-minute play cycle, people went between all 3 or perhaps all 4 types of play. And so we feel that they're really key to, these are really keys to engagement, and there's some underlying human cognitive, process that's going on, an engagement process that's going on, and that if we can take these lessons from games, we can actually apply it to create engagement. So imagine, if you will, if you had a tool that you could actually, dip your brush in as a designer and paint attention, paint engagement on the screen like Velcro, and then color it with any emotion to match the task at hand or maybe to match your brand. You could do this if you understand these keys to engagement. I think it's important to know that games are more than just points and badges. They are systems for engagement, and they pique our curiosity. They give us this chance for feeling like we're winners. They create social bonding, and they also create excitement and learning and things that are meaningful for us after play. In our game Tilt World, players find it very engaging, and it's an example of all 4 keys to fun. So, for example, we have easy fun, which is just simply tilting the device between portrait and landscape. Moves our little character Flip, who's this gentle but mighty tadpole that wants to save Shady Glen by eating carbon out of the air and seed by seed replanting this desolate wasteland to become this lush green jungle. So just tilting between portrait and landscape is how you control the character, and that creates curiosity and wonder, and this joyful type of play we call easy fun. Creates curiosity, wonder, and surprise. It's the same thing as you might get in playing The Sims, for example. You throw in all of your Sims into the pool and then pull out the ladders just to see what happens. Or you drive the racetrack backwards, or you put your lion and your antelope in the same pen in Zoo Tycoon. These things are great ways to just explore the world. And that's the curiosity, that's the first hook that brings the player into the world. The next thing you want to do is you want the player to discover the challenge, some sort of goal, some sort of explicit play pattern that if they could just do this a little bit better, they could get that basketball into the hoop. And basketball's fun because, the hoop is not, this big at waist level. Basketball is fun because it's way up here and it's very small. It's hard to get to. And because it's hard to get to, that's the next type of fun. It's more the hard fun. So in Tilt, what we have is a little character, jumping through and just having to jump through this little gap in, a string of little caterpillar-like scrubbers. And Flip has to jump through in order to earn points. And there's a timer, and so you need to earn, basically, you have to get enough mushkas, for example, in the first level, before the timer runs out. You have to eat enough carbon out of the air, so that Flip is not hungry. And so that's the hard fun of the game, and you have to do that against time. And then there's people fun, which is all about, wins feel more epic if you can share it with your friends. And so there's social interaction. There are, you can start with a leaderboard for one thing, or you can form teams and competition, but also cooperative mechanics are really important. Those are what makes games like Farmville so compelling. The social games coming out of Facebook, it's that opportunity to interact with your friends. In a non-game example would be the like button on Facebook. So for example, it's what does it really mean that I like your status post? I like that you had dinner last night. What does that mean? I like that your cat died. That's rather odd, but if you think about it, all that like button really is just me, we're primates, and it's just me picking a digital flea off of you. And it starts a conversation, or just a very low effort way for us to just sort of stay in touch, in an electronic world. And that all creates amici and amiro and all of these social emotions that help players establish their social bonds. Another great example of people fun is with the iPhone itself. If I were to, share my photos with you, I would, show you the iPhone, and then you would stroke, you would tap, you'd pinch, you zoom. But if you were to do those same gestures, like say on the back of my hand, we better be on a date or something like that. And that's the brilliance of the folks at Apple, is that they've really baked in these social emotions right into the operating system of the device itself. And how perfect for a device that's a phone, your contact list, your email, the stuff that keeps you socially interacting with your friends. All of these wonderful things are right there in the palm, literally in the palm of your hand. And the emotions that are created by using the device create the emotions that you feel when you get closer to your friends. And then lastly, there's serious fun, which is more about games creating value. So games, people play games to change how they think, how they feel, and how they behave. They explicitly play Dance Dance Revolution or Dance Central, or to lose weight. They'll play Wii Fit, of course, to get in better shape. They'll play Brain Age to get smarter. They'll play around a Halo to blow off frustration at their boss. All of these things are intentional ways to get a workout, to escape from their cares and their worries, so that after the game they feel better, they feel different than when they went in. Games also do a lot of serious fun to make the win to make the win last longer. So if the feeling of winning, that epic, like, yes, I just got the boss monster, won the Grand Prix. I use the word fiero in Italian because we don't have a good word in English for it, but it's like, yes, I got it. And that's fairly fleeting though. And then what serious fun can do is they can actually add new mechanics to extend the fact that you won, to memorialize it, to make stuff happen, make the world change. So yes, I won, but now how did the world change? Because I won. The best games do something really integrated into the story and into their environment. Other games will at least give you, badges, like, hey, you just got a badge for winning level 1. So when we talk about, it's important, that's an important thing to think about, is that the role of a badge, or really of a point system, is, to really, is to recognize accomplishments, not just for, give people stuff to collect. So when you're trying to apply a badge in a non-game, on a non-game website, it's not just to reward them for entering a comment on in a feed, hey, you get a badge for adding the most comments today. If it doesn't really change, those comments don't really have an effect in their world, or that badge then doesn't go on to do something else, then that system can break down, and people will essentially game the system, where they'll just try their best to do stuff in order to earn those points. Actually, there's a really great example of points. If you're thinking about using a website, adding game mechanics to a website or to a business process, you have to be careful, because literally, this whole gamification thing, this gamification just by using points and badges only, it can actually kill. A good example of that is the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza here in the Bay Area. If you are the game designers at the toll plaza introduced a variable toll rate. The toll goes down during off-peak hours to encourage off-peak travel, which is great. By and large, it does work. More people travel off-peak now, that it's cheaper. However, don't be on the bridge at 6:59 on a Friday night, because literally you'll see half a dozen cars pulled over to the median. People stopped in the active highway, looking at that scoreboard, waiting for that toll to go from $6 to $4. And so that's a great example of a point system that's broken, because literally to save $2 all of these individuals are risking, are putting everybody's lives in danger just to save some money. What I see happening is that games really are the future. The game-like interaction that we're seeing in a game context is now spilling out into the mainstream. I think that the future of games is going to be, or the future of online interaction, is really going to involve games. And I think it's going to be not only a watershed for online interaction, but it's actually going to permeate our entire culture. And I really see a universe where we have this, where we all look forward to going to work each day because we all look forward to that opportunity to play. The way that we design tasks, the way we design our software, the way we design our spaces and our organizational systems really ignore one of the most important components of human abilities, and that's the emotional component. The reason people spend so much time in Facebook is that social interaction has been extracted from the task, for example. If you think about it, back in the day when we used to milk cows, instead of clicking on them in a farming game, the engagement was inherent in the task. Now something happened when work went virtual and mouse-driven. We lost some of the essence of what makes work feel so good. So what I think about the future of engagement and the future of work is that we're going to be able to incorporate some of these principles of engagement to make work more satisfying, make work more enjoyable, and in a sense, make people more productive and happy at the jobs that they do by inherently making these tasks much more suited to what we do. There's a wonderful opportunity now in the world of social enterprise, the world of creating software experiences, online experiences that change how we feel and behave. Like for example, in our game Tilt world, we're actually motivating people to play, not only to play the game, we're actually motivating them to think about and then actually take real action. By modeling the activities such as recycling and planting trees and doing various other things in the game, you learn a lot. There's educational value, especially for kids. But then we also give points for doing stuff in the real world. So if you take a photo of yourself doing something that's green, we actually bring that in through the miracle of social media, and you earn, not only do you earn points, but you actually then can create groups and you can exchange ideas with your friends. And then the points that you earn we're actually going to use to fund activities in the real world. And so all of the social mechanics that we feel drive Web 2.0 are also inherently game-like, and they're in the social games. They're getting exposed right now in social games. And so it's more than just creating points and badges, for perhaps social interaction, like you may give points for adding a comment or something like that. You want to be sure that they're designed as systems. A really great example of that is the Huffington Post. They have a social badge. They have two social badges. One is called a networker badge, so it's the badge that you earn by having the most friends or bringing most people into the Huffington network. But then if you think about that badge, well then by adding more people, what happens is that you then get more posts, more comments, more flame wars and spam. So then they introduced a second badge, which is the community badge. And the community badge is you earn points in that badge, you level up in that badge by moderating and flagging the posts that your networkers have brought in. So all that extra traffic they are then moderating, and it's not just they're getting points for the number of posts they mark as spam, but they're getting points for the posts that the moderators think are spam. Which is a very important difference. Otherwise, someone would just mark all posts spam to try and get that out. So if you can see that what happens when you're designing a system, just like the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza example I spoke of earlier, you're designing a system where the two or more elements are in balance. Game mechanics work because you give somebody a score, and people are going to do whatever they can to achieve it. People will always game the system. And you want them to do that for social enterprise. You want them to game the system in order to do your intended consequences. But there's always unintended consequences, and so that's where the real game design comes in. And so that's why I say you can't just add points and badges and consider that a game.